All right, so here we have every Coheed and Cambria song that has been made. Um, Even some of the additional tracks, the bonus tracks are here, and I plan to create this tier list with every song. Um, I'm a huge fan of Coheed and Cambria. I've been about for 15 years or more. I've been to their concerts a number of times. My wife and even my 6-year-old listen to them nearly daily. So I'm as big of a fan as you can possibly get. I just made a video of a tier list of the albums, and now I kind of want to see if they are reflected properly in the songs themselves. Now, what's interesting is, as far as songs goes, there's a lot of opinion that goes into this, obviously, for the type of music that you like. One thing that's really awesome about Coheed and Cambria is their variety, both in the vocals and theme, and specifically in genre. I think you could probably classify songs in maybe 3 or 4 different categories that even Claudio does. Like he says, Professor Plum is what he calls the progressive songs, or I believe he has a name for the pop songs. I think it's Mr. M or something. And then he has a name for like the ballads and the slower songs, and then maybe just the heavier, just straight up rock songs, and then maybe the more like punk focused songs. And then even that we have kind of maybe the longer progressive songs, or maybe songs that just kind of change things up and are short but sweet. Um, so there's a lot to look at, and if you have favoritism towards the progressive, obviously this list is going to be significantly different in that case. If you're a fan of pop music, you're going to gravitate towards certain songs. Now, just to start off, I would say I am generally a um, metal band, someone who likes metal rock historically for myself, and so I will probably favor the heavier tracks for the most part. Now, one of the main reasons I like Coheed and Cambria in particular is because of the dichotomy between his sort of uplifting vocals in contrast to the heavier sound of the instruments and the change at which they happen. It's so typical to get pop songs that are so predictable with and formulaic and uplifting and about their love life. And then on the flip side, the metal songs always something that's kind of hard to absorb immediately, so it doesn't have that. You have to listen many times to appreciate it, and then also they have the growling vocals. It sometimes can be a little bit repetitive. You're trying. One thing I can say about Coheed and Cambria, with all these songs, I could probably hum and recognize them almost immediately. And that's a huge number of tracks, and that says something for the band to have something. Even the less catchier ones and the more progressive ones, you can immediately recognize them because of the catchy vocals and the style that's happening there. So yeah, let's take a look at this. And some of these are in order. Some of them are obviously band order. I'm just going to kind of maybe grab some here and there. I have a section that's called intros and instrumentals. So these will still be in order. So like the best to the left and then slowly diverge to the right. But we have a couple of those here. And so for Afterman Ascension, I believe I'm trying to find it here. Oh, there it is. Sometimes it's hard to read there. The Hollow. This would be an introduction instrumental. This one is one that's doesn't stand out too much. I'm going to try to keep this whole video relatively short, but there's a lot of songs here. So if you're a fan of one of the songs and I just briefly comment on it, it's not so much because there's not a lot to say about it. It's just the time constraints of the video. I don't want it to be multi-hour video. So anyway, I got the Hollow there. I think it's a good one for the mood. And then we got Domino. Domino shouts kind of like a B to me. It's very progressive. I remember this one coming out, being super excited about it after coming off of Year of the Black Rainbow, to hear Claudio's vocals coming back, and being so progressive and so much variety in it. It's got some great chanting in it as well. I think the whole play on whatever the boxing and the announcer voice is a little bit of a turnoff, and it's not one that I put in often to sort of listen to again and again. And as far as Claudio's vocals, you can categorize the songs themselves in a variety of different ways, but this, I would say, it's almost like the cynical Claudio voice. It's got sort of that edge to it, and so it's not one of the softer sort of lighthearted songs. So it does have a little bit of darkness to it, and of course the subject of the song is also very dark. And I'm not going to go over the lore of everything, but if I feel like it plays a role in whether or not the song is good or not, I might make a comment on it. Anyway, then the Afterman. Yeah, it's still feeling B for me. I think the Afterman is, again, a very gutsy to do a whole song that's kind of soft like that. Such a counter to Domino right off the bat there. And Mother of Men. This one, I really like this one, or Mothers of Men. This one has got that sort of high soaring vocals. I remember when I heard it, I'm like, oh yeah, this rings true back to his earlier work, only in the sense of vocal. I think a lot of times people that review Coheed and Cambria are constantly saying stuff like, well, it sounds like they used to, or it doesn't sound like they used to, as if that's, you know, a measure of whether it's good or not. I think when I say that in this case, it's referring back to what I really love about Coheed and Cambria, and that's that sort of poppy, sort of high-pitched, soaring vocals on contrast with sort of a heavier themes and stuff. And I think Mothers of Men is a good example of that. And I might have the orders here messed up, but Good Night, Fair Lady. This one, yeah, sometimes when it comes to like the theme and lyrics, I think this is a hilarious, like it's a very poppy song, and yet it has such a sort of dark, you know, story behind it. But yeah, I think also sometimes Claudio can get a little bit too involved in like saying, I'm going to tell you a story, and this is what the story is. And he's like singing those words, and it comes across as a, I won't say cheesy, but a little bit almost too direct, where I prefer more of the subtlety and kind of needing to explore as opposed to being like hit in the face with what's going on. And so I think that's where this one turns me off just a little bit, as far as that goes. Homecoming. So this is a bonus track, but I really like this one. I think, again, I'll probably throw it up here into the B category. This is one that has, it's almost got that, what is it called? Wake Up, sort of the sound of him just singing almost in solo. And it's got that sort of, I want to say John Hopper, the lead singer of Blues Traveler. I always think of Claudio's got such a variety in his vocals. He does these sort of things with the vibrato and the sort of the accents in his tone and stuff. They're just so interesting. That kind of remind me of Michael Jackson sometimes, John Hopper other times, like that cynical sort of almost, what do you call it? Almost like that punk sound, but it's also got the edgy, like nasally. It's like, it's kind of like My Chemical Romance in a way. So sometimes his voice goes in that direction, but other times it's got this sort of almost like bluesy sound to it. And I think Homecoming is that, and it's a really good track. Hollywood the Cracked, sorry. This one is, this one might be S tier. I'll say A. I think I like it a little bit better than Mothers of Men. So Hollywood the Cracked, I love this one. It really sounds like the soaring vocals that you get from Second Stage Turbine Blade. And but it also has the contrast of sort of the edginess of Al the Killer, and it's just super cool. So that's one of my favorites. Vic the Butcher, on the other hand, I think this one it's kind of got the same sort of tone as Hollywood the Cracked, but it's got that sort of chant in the chorus and the sort of the chanting vocals there at the end. It's not quite the tone of that, and the beat of that wasn't quite what I was interested in. But I love the heaviness of both of these tracks. It's kind of fun. Evagria the Faithful. This one, I think this is going to go to S tier, or at least high A. Maybe I'll keep it S for now. I'll probably have to move these around a bit. This one's got that sort of, I don't want to say 70s, 80s vibe. It kind of reminds me a little bit of even Phil Collins, a bit with the music feel it has. But it's so catchy and just a unique track. I love that one. This is one of Claudio's favorites as well, as far as something. I read that he's like, this is what you have to listen to if you're getting into Coheed and Cambria, is Evagria the Faithful, and then like Welcome Home or something, I think he said. Subtraction. This one's got those sort of low vocals that that I tend to not care for, but he's got the soaring like self harmonies going on there too. So I think that's a good one. I think this one probably maybe somewhere around here. So I really like that one. Ghost. Okay, well, actually, you know what? We're going right into Color Before the Sun. I don't know if I want to start. I guess, you know what? It's going to take too long to try to put these things in perfect order. So I'll just start off with Ghost. They just played this one live. It was phenomenal live. It was so good. I think I do like this one just a little bit better than Subtraction, but it's got kind of that same sort of feel. It is super short, but what a great like contrast in vocal style. I love that one. Atlas. This one's got that sort of epic nature of Domino, where it's got this very progressive, got a lot going on there. It's got the epic outro, which is super cool. All right, and then it's, you know, singing about his son, which is so happened that he was having his child and his child and my child is about the same age, and it's just kind of, we grew up, we're about the same age, and I had my kid and Color Before the Sun came out, so there was a good connection there, even though it didn't have the Amory Wars theme under it. It still, it meant it touched me in that way, and especially like Atlas, it was just super intense. Your Love, though, this one, this is one of the worst songs ever. Not a big fan of this. There's a lot going on. I think with the bass and the drums are pretty nice here, some of the music aspects of it, but it's such a again, I know it's about his house, but it feels like well, Young Love, and it's just not a song I'm that interested in. Similar with You Got Spirit Kid. I remember I listened. It's like, oh Eddie, and I'm like, who the hell is Eddie? And I understand it's like, oh A or whatever, but it, to me, that came across as it's unappealing. So usually like the catchy notes and stuff is something you kind of want to sing to, and that one, it just seemed a little bit out there. I love the verses though. It's definitely better than Young Love. It probably maybe deserves a C. I know this is a very popular track, but for me, it's definitely catchy. It's kind of a play on, with the video that they did, the tongue-in-cheek video, kind of remind me of a Faber House Atlantic. So I get the cheesiness and the comedy going into it, but as far as an overall song, I'm not a huge fan of that. In contrast, the audience, I think this is another S tier here. I think I might even like it better than Evagria. This one, I love the vocal harmonies that he does. The sort of a little bit of the cynical voice, but he's also got the soaring voice. It kind of harks back to the concept with his reference to his audience and the obsession and of trying to be how you used to sound. And it's got that there and the outro is awesome. The way it's progressive, the way it goes from sort of one chorus and then it's got this outro chorus and then it kind of brings it back in. I love the drums of this one. The starting sort of drums remind me of those big. I guess Queen of the Dark has a very similar sort of impactful drums in there, but I absolutely love this song. It's one of my favorites. Piece of the Mountain, on the other hand, this one's gonna have to go down here. This one is not. I'm not a big fan of that one. It's a little bit. I think it goes on way too long and way too repetitive. It didn't really go anywhere, and it just went too fluffy and too almost like, I won't say symphonic. I'm not sure. It's almost like a Disney movie, and it just seems like it's going too much. But he's got it kind of reminds me of Homecoming a bit in the sense of his voice. He's got that sort of, again, a John Hopper, I want to say, if that makes sense. The voice, and it's also a very soft voice. It's very appealing, but the song itself, the lyrics just seems a little bit cheesy for me. Bridge and Tunnel, this was a bonus track. This is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. It feels like an early 90s like pop rock song or light rock that you find on the radio. It sounds really similar to that. Not a fan of that. Fang of the Fox is almost worse. This one has the sort of the low tone you see in Subtraction, Pearl of the Stars, and but it stays that way throughout the whole song. And there's another song on here I don't include that's A Friend to Enemies, based upon his little children's book, Kid Crazy and the Kilowatt King. And it's a great song, and it's got that sort of low tone, but there's a lot going on there. Where Fangs of the Fox, it's like he's almost just talking it. Not a big fan of that. The Island, on the other hand, this shows you sort of the dichotomy or the split of this particular album. I love The Island. It's a fantastic intro track for that, and the soaring vocals, and it's so catchy. Not edgy enough for me, so probably be at the end of the S tier most likely. This is probably one of the last ones there. Eraser, this is one of those sort of punchy second songs. Not punchy enough for me, so I'll probably go down to maybe, not exactly sure, but maybe last B. Colors, oh, I love this one. This is, I think this is an A. It reminds me of like a better version of Afterman. It kind of gives me that vibe. I know there's a little more intricacies going on with Afterman, but Colors is, I really love the vocal harmonies and stuff and the softness of there. Here to Mars, not a huge fan of this one. Kind of reminds me, it kind of fits into that, so like third track or fourth track, Good Night Fair Lady sort of thing. It's some of these songs just seem a little bit lyrically cheesy, and they're not very heavy, they're not very progressive. They're catchy as hell though, so I really love the song, but it's as far as the grand scheme of things, again, I just don't know if it's there. All right, away we go. This one's definitely got that Young Love vibe. I do think it's better, but I'm not a big fan of this one at all. It's maybe low C. It's catchy, but the Jersey Girl stuff, I have to say, I don't really get that in the concept. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more, because I know there's Jersey Bound with the Devil in Jersey City. I know there's some linkage there. I have all the comics and I've read them, but I think there's some sort of there's like Paris Earth, and there's some references, and obviously there's this sort of double sort of metaphors going on. Some of it's related to his real life and some of it's related to his concept, and there's like overlap there. But yeah, it's a little frilly for me. Let's see, Iron Fist, another one it's kind of there's some really catchy moments of this, but it's as a whole, it's kind of a lull on we're in Dissension now. Yeah, Dissension, Afterman, Dissension. and these couple of songs here back to back, all three of these are back to back to back, and they seem like they have sort of the same overall tone. And I feel like one of these three could have been fine for that spot had they done not a double album and a single album. I mentioned in the previous video my love for Unheavenly Creatures and how I prefer like tons of songs and then I can pick and choose. So I'm not like preferring that they didn't have these because I think they're all, each one of these songs is good for their own purpose, or I'm glad they exist. But I think as far as the completion of the album as a nice listen, I can understand a criticism of that. Choose my favorite one. Yep, it is my favorite one as of now. I love this song. It's got the vocals that I'm looking for with Claudio, with the sort of somber lyrics and the sort of spacey themes. It doesn't get that edgy or progressive. It's a little bit catchy and poppy, I would say, possibly. But I love this song. This basically, if you're looking at what I like in Claudio's voice, it's right here in this one. I just wish it was a little bit heavier. So I don't think it'll be at the top of the S, but as far as S tier, I think that's there. Carol Ann, this is kind of like a much better version of Things of the Fox. This one is really progressive. It starts off soft and dark, and then it just goes really extreme and intense. One of the most intense songs I think he's ever written. Lyrics, though, a little cheesy on that. Random Reality Shifts, another bonus track for Dissension. Love this one. I think this one edges out Carol Ann a bit. Just heard someone had remixed this with some guitar and drums, and it sounded pretty darn good. I just wish Coheed and Cambria did that. I feel like this would have been one of my favorites had it made it to the album and like actually been produced. It's a good song. It's a hard listen to when it's just his vocals and a little bit of acoustic. Fred Lethal. I really don't know if that's pronounced right. This would be an intro, and this is one of my favorite intros of all of Coheed and Cambria. I saw this live with him playing the little banjo or whatever, and he was right above me. I was right there front and center. It was so cool to see that, and it's such a soft way to introduce and then explodes. Century the Defiant. This one, this is right after Fred Lethal, so this one's a very good one. I think this one, I think this is an A. I think this one stands out above Domino the Destitute as far as intro songs. It's not as progressive. It's a little more straightforward, but the intensity of it's great. And then it jumps right into a more intense song, kind of like it's got that sort of Eraser feel, but I think this is a better version of Eraser. This might have to go a little bit higher. Do I like it better than these? Maybe here. This song is just so cool. It's got such a beat. And then Number City. This might be definitely A. Yeah, Number City and Hollywood the Crack, these kind of give me sort of a similar vibe where it's got sort of the vocal range, and it's so catchy. It's such an interesting song with was it Science? I want to say I forget the band name, but there was a band that does more instrumental stuff, and they were a part of that. And then that jumped right into Gravity's Union. I think this is probably the best of the epics of the B tier. So like Atlas is great, Domino's a little bit better, than Gravity's Union is just amazing. The outro of Atlas, it kind of reminds me of they both have super passionate outros. The outros of Gravity's Union is one of the greatest elements of a song yet. I think my issue with it, why wouldn't it be A or S? Because a lot of people refer to this one as like one of their best when they're recommending songs. I still would recommend it. I definitely would be on my recommend list. The problem is it's got like Good Night Fair Lady, and he's like almost speaking the words of the, like he's like reading from like the book itself, but it's almost as if he's just like yelling some of the lyrics, and it just comes across as a little bit too direct for me, but musically and stuff. So this might deserve to go into the A if I move things around a bit, but let's throw it there for now. All right, In Keeping Secrets. Do I really want to go to this one next? Light and Glass. This is definitely, I think, top A, or maybe top B. I think sometimes people say this is one of the weaker songs, but it's got such a epic sort of outro. 2113. This one's going straight to S. I'm trying to think here. Maybe probably here. I think I like two's my favorite one overall. I mean, these, to compare these is kind of crazy. Although his vocals are actually kind of similar like pitch, which is kind of cool. But this one is so progressive. This one's phenomenal. I love that song. This used to be one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's still a great song. And I love the way it brings back Time Consumer, and I thought there was another one in there, but Time Consumer in particular is super cool. The Ring of Return is an intro. This one's not one of the best. Keeping Secrets. This is probably, this is definitely the best of the epic songs. I think this has to go up here to the top of the A's. So This song is probably, I don't know, could be my favorite live. I've seen them, I think, 7 times live. And this is definitely one that stands out every single time. You're waiting for this one to happen. The problem I have, and maybe not to put it into S, I think this may be blasphemous, but I think it's just such a long song. It doesn't have as easily replay value. It's a little bit repetitive, but I guess it's repetitive in a good way. I love it when it comes back in with that drop off. The sort of strange transition or bridge, the super long bridge. The lyrics, I don't want to say it's like insulting or something or like offensive, but I could see it just seems it plays off as like maybe trying too hard. And also when I first heard this album, this was a song that I first heard. I'm like, for whatever reason, I was thinking Jane's Addiction. Like I kept hearing it. It seemed like he was just yelling the chorus. And it just was kind of a turnoff with that. So it never quite stuck with me as one of the best for whatever reason. Cut to the March of Men. This one, well, it just pops right out right behind that one. I would say this one, it just goes right into it, super fast paced. It's kind of weird. It might be insulting, but kind of reminds me of Alanis Morissette, the vocals here for this one. I don't know why. I'm trying to think of which songs particularly, and that's probably a negative on that. But for whatever reason, I actually like Alanis Morissette, some of their older tracks, and I've always found them to be, again, her vocals, the self harmonies, and sort of the band was heavier than you would think. It wasn't as poppy as a lot of people thought or would have categorized her in. It was considered alternative rock, I think, but she has some heavier stuff, and for whatever reason, I got that vibe from that. The Crowing probably has to be S tier. Perhaps my favorite outro of any song, maybe ever. But maybe, you know what the issue though is, I keep forgetting that the first like 4 minutes or so has such a lengthy time to get where it needs to go. So this one's kind of like a split for me. I kind of wish it might have gone somewhere a little bit sooner. Blood Red Summer, this one is not it's probably one of my least favorite songs. And I remember when I first was introducing my wife to this music, or who I was dating at the time, and I was like, I better skip that end. That seems just so poppy and cheesy. But then, the name of the song, this was actually one of the songs that once you learn like the lore of it, it kind of becomes an awesome dichotomy. So, but it's still hard to get back into. They just played this one live though, and I loved it live. So it's hard to be too harsh on that. Faint of Hearts, this is kind of like Blood Red Summer without like the sort of the cheesy outro or the chantiness of it. So this one used to be one of my favorites. I'll probably put it bottom of A now. But yeah, this one's so catchy. Back End of Forever, this one's a lot of people's least favorite. To me, this one is, where do I want to put this? Maybe up here, closer to A. The reason I love this one so much is because of the way it is so progressive, and it just builds and builds and builds, but not in a soft way like The Crowing does, and then it gets sort of glorious. Whereas Back End Forever gets just so edgy, almost like Al the Killer, and which actually is next, Al the Killer. I think this one it leads, it like turns into Al the Killer, which is just so awesome as it becomes so epic. And then it's got that sort of double vocals that Claudio does, the self harmonies that he does so much in Good Apollo and Burning Star 4 part or volume 1 that I love to see. So when I first heard these songs, I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds so similar to that. And this one's definitely Al the Killer. Talk about the most absurd and extreme lyrics you ever could have in a song. I'll probably put this up a bit. Maybe I think of replay value here. Yeah, maybe I'll just put it there. And then A Favorite House, Atlantic. So I'm not a huge fan of punk. I think this one's a little bit too punk for me, and also punk pop. I described in the other video about my discontent for like pussy rock, and that was a term I used. I didn't know if that meant anything. But when this was on the radio, I was just not a big fan of the song, and that sort of turned me off from the band a little bit. But I did mention that in the context of sometimes you have to take Coheed and Cambria and listen to the album as a whole, and I think this one fit in so well. I was kind of like zoning out a bit for a while, and then it got that edge to it, and I'm thinking, okay, this is really heavy, with Back In Forever, Al the Killer, I'm getting into it. And then Favorite House, Atlantic came on. I'm like, whoa, what the heck? This is so poppy and fun, and it just was such a contrast, so I loved it. And it's hard to not like that when they play that live. All right, Second Stage, Turbine Blade is sort of I think this describes the issue with the whole album of Second Stage. It just seems like the production is low. As I play these songs back, I think that's one of the things that's endearing about them. I like those now. I like the way it is. iRobot, I don't know why this is even here. I think it's I mean, it's a nice song, but I think this really should be a part of Godsend Conspirator. Then Elf Tower, yeah, not a fan of. Oh wait, I can't really put these here. I think this one could be counted as an outro song, so I think maybe iRobot could be down there. But Elf Tower is a full song, and this one just doesn't work for me. It's going too far back to Shibuti, where some of those songs were just a little bit too clean in the vocals and too sort of random. For like again, like he's just talking up and it, almost like he's talking to sing, which is kind of cool. It's unique, but it's not for me. Time Consumer is maybe one of my favorites from that album. I love again the outro is I don't know which one's better, the crowing outro or Time Consumer. I think this one Time Consumer. Oh wait, no, Time Consumer. Oh shoot, I was saying this wrong. This one actually is up here. Time Consumer. That's the intro for whatever. I read it. I read Time Consumer. My brain was saying Godsend Conspirator. I'm just going to grab this here. Godsend Conspirator. This is one I was talking about with the outro. It's so incredibly intense and again the build, and then it's sort of like I don't know what to say, jazzy or bluesy. It's got this tone to it that I just absolutely love throughout the song. So this one might be a little bit higher. Time Consumer though, that's when I first heard it, it was a bit yelly, kind of like in Keeping Secrets. But after a few listens, I had to get sort of adjusted to his voice because I said I was coming from Year of the Black Rainbow when I first discovered in a second stage. And so hearing these, the contrast was so extreme, it was hard for my brain to wrap around it at the time. But with it being the progressive intro and then hearing that again in 2113, and I think I heard it in reverse. So I heard 2113 first, and then I heard Time Consumer. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. And then it went its own way, and it's a little catchier, a little bit more quick to the punch than 2113. So I think it edges it out just a little bit. Devil in Jersey City, not a big fan of this one. It's definitely better than Away We Go. Pick the Butcher, now maybe right around here. Everything Evil. So again, this is a little bit too much punk for me, and the screams seemed a little bit forced. I don't know if that was the bassist at the time or because that dude, I think he was the one screaming it when I saw it live. The bassist that they lost, and that voice, that scream voice, was very iconic to that album. And it seemed to I didn't care for it so much. It seemed a little forced. So the end, maybe cut off the end. It's definitely a catchy song. Everything Evil. This has the same issue as like Elf Tower. I don't know if that's insulting or not. This is one of the greatest ones that they perform live. I absolutely love it live. Everyone's chiming in on it. But a little bit too much talking for me for that. Whereas Delirium Trigger, actually to me, Delirium Trigger is like a better version of Everything Evil. Like this is the way I'd want it. And this one goes up here, maybe the A for me. I remember when I first saw them live, I heard them practicing Delirium Trigger while I was in the car. That's how loud they were. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. He's just practicing that song. His lyrics were soaring. That was 2011, I think, and or 2010, and they were so good. I was shocked to hear his voice hitting those notes. Here's Shot Kid Disaster. This is like one of the worst songs ever. It's just a little bit cheesy, but I don't want to be that harsh, right? I'm like, fuck this song. No, it's not. Actually, I have to give it some level. You know what? Yeah, it's definitely better than those two. In fact, Elf Tower is too. What am I doing? And it's better. Yeah, just screw that. Yeah, maybe it's somewhere around here. But yeah, this one is it kind of goes somewhere. It's very progressive, but yeah, some of the lyrics just I think whatever it is, it just doesn't quite do it for me. The Paris and Mayo and stuff. I'm not sure if I understand the lore, but I'm not sure exactly if that's where I want it. I think 33 is a better version of Devil in Jersey City. Very, very poppy, very punky, very fast-paced, kind of fun song. So I'll put it around there. Zoom song Provision. This song, man, you guys have to hear the demo version of this. So I'm going to kind of combine the demo, like assume the demo and the produced one is, the production one is the same, and that kind of gives it an edge. I love listening to both of them. This one's so progressive and it's got so much going on with it. It still has that sort of talkingness that Everything Evil has, but I think there's a lot more hooks in this that are a little more catchy moments in it. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Everything Evil, the outro of that is actually really nice. So this probably deserves to go a bit higher. Let's see. Good Night Fairly. Yeah, maybe up there at the top. So sometimes these songs, I have them pretty much memorized, but as you're just thinking off the top of your head, sometimes you're thinking of maybe the lesser parts of the song, and you don't consider some of the greater moments in it. And where he's screaming Claudia, that's a super catchy moment. But I think Juice song, it's got a lot more of that going on. And like I said, the demo's phenomenal with the self harmonies. I love that stuff. It reminds me of, I'm a big fan of Prize Fighter Inferno, in particular the My Brother's Blood Machine album. And he does that self harmony, the softness there. And I've always been a fan of bluegrass. And so it's kind of funny. I love metal, but this bluegrass stuff, it just has a unique sound. So the fact that Claudio did a side album with that sort of feel to it, and then the electric sound. It was kind of cool. I used to be a fan of techno as well, so to hear those elements in there is kind of cool. And so the demos of the some of the In Keeping Secret tracks and some of the second stage, they really sound like the content in Prize Fighter. Never Ender, this is so catchy. It's a very good song. Kind of reminds me of The Light and Glass, kind of positioned in the same spot. I think The Light and Glass is a little bit better, but I mean, you have to rate this one high, right? That's the name of their whole like series that they explore when they go on tour, or they did. Then actually the SS Never Ender, they just did that. I would have loved to have gone there. In fact, we would have gone to it, but we had I think that was COVID that sort of interrupted that, which was unfortunate. All right, do I want to jump to this one? Maybe I want to skip it. Nah, let's go ahead and do it. Mother May I. Here we go. My favorite ranked album, my favorite album of like all time. Mother May I. It kind of reminds me of where's that at? Mothers of Men, not just because of the name, but there's some, I don't know, for whatever reason it reminds me of that. Fuel for the Feeding End. This is probably a mid A. Very progressive, has a lot going on with the drums. I love his sort of Al the Killer double harmony with the lower pitch that I think there was a deliberate pitch adjustment, not a natural one. I think it was a technical pitch that they do. But I remember hearing that the first time and thinking, hey, it's getting a little heavier here. From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. This one is amazing. I absolutely love it. It's it's the background music to my dating of my girlfriend, now wife. I'm thinking what's something about it, held in your hand. Yeah. Anyway, a little bit cheesy, but maybe that's a little biased with that song. But I love the pop. It's so like fun. It's got that. It's almost like Rush, but I just think Claudio's vocals are so far more superior. But it's got so much going on there. Keeping the Blade. Yeah, it's a very good intro. And Always and Never. I feel like this song is long enough maybe to be its own song, but I feel like maybe these two kind of go back to back. I consider Always and Never an intro song. It is my favorite intro song though, and I feel like it's almost like if you want to describe like Claudio and Coheed and Cambria and kind of what he does, I feel like Always and Never is such a great track to do that, to see the sort of the lyrics, to kill all of you is such a great way to end it, and then jump into Welcome Home, which we are next. So I was defending Welcome Home quite a bit in the album review, and I'll say that again. I think Welcome Home is the greatest Coheed and Cambria track, if not just because it brought in such an audience, and it brought in me. But I think as you hear it so often and you hear it at the concert, it is definitely, I would say, overrated as being the one-hit wonder, the hit of their one-hit wonder. I think that's insulting, and I don't like putting it up there because of that. But when you hear that intro and then it goes into his voice, just look at all the reactions. Like, this is the song that you have for people to react to it. None of these other songs quite work. They're a little bit too weird, a little bit too over. Like, you have to kind of know where it's going. And but I love this one because it sounds like it's going to do something, and then his voice goes another way, and it's edgy. The lyrics are intense, and yet his voice is so like loving and like uplifting, and yet the voice has an edge to it. It's just so weird, and I love the reactions to this song in particular. And it may not be my personal favorite, like as far as listening goes. Don't listen to it a huge amount, but overall, I can't imagine myself, like, this is the one that dragged me into it. Like, I had heard of Favorite House and like a few others, so I liked the band, or I didn't like it. I had known of the band, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a little different. And I started like wanting to hear it, and this sort of like weird addiction. I said when I was in the video game industry, the music was playing, and I had a coworker that would just play the music all the time, and I'd be like, oh dude, what the hell is this music he's playing? And then it's like, you know what, I want to hear that again. That's catchy. I was humming the songs and stuff. And then when Rock Band came out, I was playing, and that was like a big, the switch turned on. I'm like, whoa, this is that one band that dude kept playing for me. And then I would ask him like, hey, what's that band's name? And then finally I knew what it was. And to play the song in Rock Band was just so cool. And anyway, same thing with 10 Speed. That one kind of popped up there, but over the years, I think 10 Speed doesn't hold up as much, and it's got that sort of it's almost like, I don't know, it's kind of weird to describe it as this, but it's kind of got that Here to Mars, Goodnight Fair Lady, Blood Red Summer. I don't know, I feel like it's in that category, but it's higher than that. It's kind of like a Favorite House Atlantic or Hard Sell. Yeah, maybe it's around here somewhere with the Hard Sell. It's kind of got that, but I love The name of it being God's Blood and Burial or whatever, and playing that song was just so cool. This might be able to go a little higher, a little lower, but that one's a tough one for me. Crossing the Frame. Well, I think this one came right after 10 Speed, and it's these names, they're tough, and even though it's my favorite album, some of these like Ghosts, obviously I can remember that, right? But some of the songs, they just have a little bit longer names, and there is, if I have a criticism for Good Apollo and Burning Star 4 Volume 1, there is a little bit of repetition. I remember I first heard the full album, just sitting and listening, I was like, that was amazing, but I'm pretty sure I heard some of those songs twice. And it turned out it was with the writing writer, and I thought that was hilarious. I didn't notice it at the time, and then I re-listened to it, like, oh yeah, that's just literally the same thing. And the outros, the the sort of O's that he's doing, the quintessential, or the iconic, I would say better, iconic, has that a lot. But I actually love this song. This one, maybe, I think I prefer that more than Mother May I. But again, these couple of the songs are quite similar. The writing writer, I kind of want to not include this one, because this was the song I was just talking about that's like got a repeat on it. It's like a quicker version of The Telling Truth, but I don't know. I used to love this one, and I feel like it's a little more approachable. So if you're trying to, I think there's a great song to introduce someone to, for sure. But as far as me liking the heavier and metal and progressive aspect of it, I think it falls just a little bit down. Wake Up, again, it's kind of this ballad. I think this might be the best of the ballads. So let's see, where do I have Colors? Probably be somewhere around here, a little better than that. It's hard to rate this super high because like it's such a solo track. But I do think it's one of the best. I see I'm looking down Homecoming. I see Colors, Homecoming, Wake Up. They're kind of in the same sort of realm. So maybe that's why it could be there. Suffering, oh boy, maybe the best of the A's. They just played this one live. It's amazing. I love all the vocal tracks on the outro. There's a lot going on. They're super awesome. But his voice it's actually one of the more distinguished ones from all the other tracks on that one. It kind of stands out as a little strange. I remember thinking, oh, his vocals are a little bit different on this. But then I came around, and also it kind of reminded me of Teenagers from My Chemical Romance. I think my coworker was playing Teenagers. I think that's the name of the song. And from the Black Parade, and he kept playing that song and then this one. And I feel like, okay, these were the two like singles from the album, from their albums. And I remember like I was associating them too much, so I almost couldn't distinguish them two when I first heard them. I just very fresh listen. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like which band is which? And so that, again, in retrospect, I absolutely love The Suffering way more than Teenagers, but it does have that sort of vibe, so maybe not in the S tier. The Lying Lies and Dirty Secrets of Miss Erica Court. So this is probably the weakest on the album, only because by the time you get there, it's a bit repetitive, and I think maybe people are a little too harsh on this song. One thing I found was this was actually a song he did, one of his first songs he had ever written, I think. I heard this back in the Shabuti days, and I was shocked, and the lyrics were, it was like similar, but it was very cool to hear it in a different way. And so it's just the outro sounding a little bit like 10 Speed. It's just sort of a little off-putting. I wish it had gone a little longer or something. And then we have The Lying Lies and Dirty Secrets of Miss Erica Court. My mistake. I added that twice. I guess Erica Court is a liar, and she got me twice on that. The Telling Truth. Yes. Possibly, for me, the greatest song of all time. As I said, I love the writing writer, but if you put the writing writer in a better song, like the whole song in a better song, that's The Telling Truth. If you like had a baby with From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness and had the vocals that I want, the harmonies, and everything about this song is absolutely phenomenal. I love that song. And it's hard to keep these far apart with the final cut. I think this one just has to, I think I do edge it off here, somewhere around here. Again, the replay value is a little tough on this one. A lot of the outro songs for I think it's Year of the Black Rainbow and No World for Tomorrow and Burning Star 4. The outro songs, they drag a little bit, and I love it. But as far as like a replay, I just kind of, I gotta be in the mood for that. As a song itself, it's pretty amazing. All right, I feel like I'm going really long on this, but I have to edit this video down a bit. I'm doing my best here. So let's go into No World for Tomorrow, Radio Bye Bye. This one's a higher level than I think many other rate. I think this definitely feels like a Good Apollo 1 song. So when I first heard it, it was actually, I didn't care for the album as a whole initially, because it seemed like Claudio was doing it was a little more just straight up rock. And it felt like, I don't know, I almost want to say like Bon Jovi rock. And whereas Good Apollo Volume 1 seemed a little more like technical and progressive, these were a little more straight up rock songs. So I heard Radio Bye Bye, I felt like I was getting a little bit more of that feel from Volume 1. Same thing with Incomplete, although I think Incomplete is probably Trying to think here. Yeah, maybe the end of the S. This is maybe the only S from this album for me. No, I think there might be another. The Incomplete is phenomenal. I love how it like goes into its own realm and then comes back, kind of like in Keeping Secrets, but I feel like the vocals here are a little bit more attractive in the hooks and stuff, I would say. Let's see, The Road and the Damned. This one used to be one of my favorites from the album, but I think it's just slowly sort of lulled its way down into an average song. It's hard to, I don't listen to it as much because it doesn't really go anywhere, but I think it is a nice somber sort of like progression after the Incomplete suite. The Reaping. This one is like a worse version of the Hard Sell, in my opinion. So I think it'd be somewhere around here. Maybe I think I like Ghost a little bit better than that. But it's got that sort of edgy sort of second song that is even Eraser. Yeah, I know Eraser's a little lower, I think. Is it? Yeah, Eraser's down here. All these songs seem to be trying to achieve the same thing in the placement of the album. And then No World for Tomorrow, this has that same sort of, it's like the Domino, the Destitute, and then we got the Epic. I think this is probably the least favorite of them. So we got Gravity's Union, or actually In Keeping Secrets is probably my favorite. And then Gravity's Union, Domino, Atlas, and then No World's probably my least favorite of those suites, or of those like intro, like epic tracks. You always say, well, it's that first song I'm really looking for. But I think it's probably the weakest of that. Oh, wait a second. Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble with that. The Reaping. That's that probably made no sense at all. I was talking about the Hound. Shoot. The Reaping is the intro. And that actually, I love the intro of that, the intro song. Boy, I really screwed that up. I apologize, guys. I swear I'm a huge fan. It's just, it's a mental like snap there. That's all. The Hound. This is the one that is like that probably made no sense to you guys at all. Yeah, this is the one that gives me that hard sell feel. Okay, whew. Boy, I don't know if I can edit that. That would be embarrassing. Okay, Feathers. This one, really love Feathers. I think it's probably somewhere around here. Super catchy. This was one that I didn't care for at first, and it's definitely grown on me. And to be just a straight up rock song, super catchy. I absolutely love it. The Running Free was kind of like in that 10-speed range when it came out on Rock Band again, and that was fun to play. The song, it's again, it kind of feels like that Hard Sell, and now the Hound. It's got that sort of fast beat, and I like how it was what it was sort of referring to as far as the lore of it, the personal situations that the band was going through at the time. Mother Superior. This one's definitely a girl, kind of like Feathers. This one is. It's one of the most touching songs, like the most emotional of all their songs. Super great, and it just goes more and more intense as it grows. Grave Makers and Gunslingers. This one is this is a lot of people's favorite, or one of their favorites on the album, kind of like Gravity's Union. I always see like, oh, you have to check out Gravity's Union, Grave Makers and Gunslingers, Welcome Home, and it's like, I don't know about Grave Makers and Gunslingers. It's kind of like, it's like if The Suffering had a baby with Gravity's Union or something, maybe like, oh, that's going to be awesome. But I think, the outcome of that wasn't quite what I wanted. It's definitely good. I think. How did Road to the Damned get up here? Oh, yes. Okay, I gotta be careful with my order here. Okay, yeah, that's right. Road to the Damned or this one. Yeah, maybe this one's a little bit more punchy. I'm trying to think. Eraser. Yeah, maybe around there. I mean, that doesn't seem to fit in stylistically too much, but I think this one goes back and forth. Maybe it's a C. Justice and Murder, though, this one's definitely down here. Maybe the top of the D's. This one, it took me a while, like when you're really looking for a Coheed song that you just want one that you haven't listened to as much. This one's a good one. I know it's about, his situation with I believe his aunt. That was what was going through there, and I like the idea of the song or what it was singing about, but it still appears a little bit on the cheesy side as far as that goes. Okay, I can't even rate this. The Fall of House of Clan. Oh, this one shouldn't be anything. Just a bunch of harmonies. I think maybe if this was a part of another song, it would have worked better for me. But I mean, it's hard to even listen to that. Just a bunch of chanting, a little bit too much vibrato. I think went on there, a little cheesy. On the Brink. This is one of the outro songs. And as I was saying, I really love the start of this, but it just goes a little bit longer, like the final cut. Maybe somewhere. I think it's got maybe somewhere there. Okay, so that's the end of No World Tomorrow. I got a couple more. I think I'm going, hopefully I get this done for an hour. Nighttime Walkers. Okay, so we are in Unheavenly Creatures here. So you know what, I might want to just do this one in order. There's a lot going on here, so I might just want to start with, is it got prologue here somewhere? Prologue. Okay, this is This is an intro. The intro is not really a song, but it does set it up. I think it's maybe better than a couple of these. Yeah, well, iRobot. Maybe I'll go throw iRobot. It's a real song and it's better than these guys. It has that prize fighter feel. Okay, Nighttime Walkers. This one actually, I'm a big fan of this one. Believe it or not, this is considered one of the lesser ones on the album. But the lullaby that he does here, and it's got that sort of techno vibe and or synth, and I don't know, it's just something about it just really stands out to me. I really like this one. It's like somewhere around the middle, it just literally becomes Wake Up. So just by chance, it happens to land right around there. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know, I might have to move things around a little bit, but I really like Nighttime Walkers actually. And just for all these songs, just so you know, I mentioned I listened to them all and then I listened to all the demos. I love the demos of this album. This is one that everyone thinks is super long. Yeah, I could see how as an album listen, it could be a bit much. It's hard to just sit through it all. But for me, all these songs, like, okay, fine, I'll call it a double album or something. I can pretend, right? But I love this album. I love these songs. The Gutter, maybe top of the A or bottom of the S somewhere. All on Fire. Ooh, I love this one too. This one has some of those transitions that you get in. Which one is it? Oh, wait, where did that one go? Where's Three Evils? Do I not have Three Evils? Oh shoot, Three Evils should be up there. Three Evils is definitely amazing, but if you know, I go refer to Three Evils a few times here. There's some songs that sound like it, but it's got that sort of Three Evils kind of transitions that you see also through From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. And so yeah, that's unfortunate that I didn't. So when I was writing these up, I missed that. So I'm gonna have to make a complimentary note about Three Evils. Hopefully, I didn't miss any other song. The Dark Sentencer. This one is my favorite of the intros. I think it's definitely better than the audience. I gotta be careful with these as far as where some of these are being put. But yeah, Dark Sentencer. This is actually one of my favorites from them. Somewhere around here, I love this song. It's like a much better version of Domino, and that might be insulting to some, but it also has sort of the classic vocals that he has in there as well. So variety there is awesome, and it just as an intro song, it was so epic and amazing. They're kind of all lined up here with sort of the progressive rock anthem songs, epic songs with No World, Atlas, Domino, Gravity's Union, and we got where did In Keeping Secrets go? Oh, there it is. And then this one I think is my favorite intro song of all. Another controversial one will be this Unheavenly Creatures. I am just not a big fan of this song. It's definitely catchy, but it's got that Bon Jovi feel for whatever reason. There's a song in Bon Jovi about a gun, and then a Skid Row song about shotguns or something. And I don't know, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit too much, a little bit too cheesy. I like a little bit of edge, a little bit too direct for me. The song itself is very catchy, and I like sort of the beat. The intro sort of 8-bit sound. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but it kind of grew on me as I listened to the album more. Toys is another one I wasn't a huge fan of. It definitely reminds me of, it's like a better version of some of these, like Here to Mars. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think I'll put it maybe here. I think it's a better version of Here to Mars. If I had to, make a call between the two. Black Sunday, this one actually goes up pretty high. I think people don't give this one enough credit. I think maybe because this would be one that I feel like he might be trying too hard. So maybe somewhere around here. Queen of the Dark kind of has that ghost vibe. Yeah, I think maybe this is bottom of the A's. I really like Queen of the Dark. True Ugly as well. It's got that hard sell feel. I think it's better than Black Sunday. And I think if I had to choose between, I probably would go True Ugly over the hard sell as far as just a listen goes. I like the variety that goes on, and they're a little more progressive with it. Oh, and I also, the Black Sunday, it's got this sort of like almost Middle Eastern sound I haven't heard. In Queen of the Dark, it's got that sort of drumming that you get in the audience, but it's just it's almost like Tool. It's like epic, and I'm sorry, not epic, but like it's got definitely a heavier, darker sound to it. So that's why that one's so high. Love Protocol. This is a fun song. I do prefer it better than Toys. I don't think it's as good as Nighttime Walkers as far as in the album goes. It's a fun song. It kind of reminds me of which one is it? Away We Go. Like a little more like poppy sort of fluctuating version of Away We Go. Maybe I'll throw that here. And same thing with the Pavilion. Yeah, these two songs this is where I think as far as filler goes, I think these are filler, but I think Pavilion, so maybe go a little bit higher here. It's just such a catchy song. For whatever reason, I get a little vibe of like Christmas music and that's kind of a turn off on that one. But maybe it's the frills of the guitar, the way the guitar is playing or something, the lightness of it. It Walks Among Us. This is definitely one of my favorites. This is up here with Al the Killer. It definitely falls in. Where's Al the Killer? There he is. I think it's just behind Al the Killer. I love Al the Killer. It Walks Among Us. Those two are some of my favorite. Kind of has that Hollywood the Cracked feel to it. It's just so he's got this sort of the snarl, cynical vocals. Super cool. Old Flames. This one, I'm not a huge fan of Old Flames, actually. I know this is one of people's favorites, just like on Heavenly Creatures. I think I do edge it out for Heavenly Creatures, but I think the lyrics are a little bit too direct. I think it's a little bit, nah, 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 nah. That vocal there is a little bit cheesy. It's got that, you got Spirit Kid kind of vibe to it, which I know some people like, or even the Blood Red Summer feel to it. And I love the way it comes back in Window of the Waking Mind in Vaxis 2. The sound of that. So, I mean, it plays a big role in the overarching story of Vaxis, but as far as that goes. And Lucky Stars is kind of like it's kind of like this Homecoming. Where's Homecoming at? Somewhere around here. I think it's a little better than Homecoming, but it's kind of got that Wake Up vibe. Oh, here we go. Once Upon Your Dead Body. Oh, I skipped that one. So I wish I had Three Evils as well. But Once Upon Your Dead Body, this definitely has that Al the Killer feel. So this is the other one that's like this. So I think it's somewhere around here. I absolutely love Once Upon Your Dead Body. I knew it was down there. I had just meant to do it with Good Apollo Volume 1, but I knew I was going to get to that. I did not know Three Evils was not here. But Once Upon Your Dead Body, phenomenal. Again, it's just one of those like quintessential like Coheed sounds that you get. It's kind of like the Writing Rider, but it's edgier, so that's why it gets pumped up a bit more. But I think it's one that people think is filler for that album, a little bit repetitive because it's got the OOs or whatever with it. But I think it's just so cool. It was actually one of my favorites when I first heard the album, being so. It's like I want you to drink the chemical, but it doesn't seem like it's kind of cheesy, but his vocals just make it so it's edgy. Like, I don't know, there's a fine line. It's definitely subjective, but all right, I think I'm going to hold this one for the last one. I'm going to go ahead and go into Year of the Black Rainbow. We got Far. Far is definitely one of my favorites from them of all time. Actually, I think it'll probably fit right around there. And I love Far. It's one of my favorites. It's got that sort of intense drumming. I think they were using garbage cans, I think they said, for that. And such a catchy sort of chorus. It does play a role in my life. It's a kind of emotional. It's got that sort of nostalgia to it. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I absolutely love that song. Whereas A Shattered Symphony, boy, this one's, I said there's a few bad Coheed songs. This is the one where I guess I'll explain about Year of the Black Rainbow. My issue with it is that Claudio's vocals have just seemed to have fallen off for that album. I think he did a little bit. I think he said when he was singing live, he was screaming songs and he had just been touring so much that he lost his voice. He was smoking. I think he was trying to do some vocal coaching around this time. He was doing some different things with it. But sometimes the notes just come up flat and they do this really weird shit. I think that's, of course, I think it's like the beginning of the end of Coheed and Cambria. Like they were like on the rise. And then with No World, they kind of flattened out. And then with Year of the Black Rainbow, it's like, oh, nope, this band's going this way. They lost the sort of the dichotomy of his high vocals and the sort of the fun. There's not super poppy songs in here. There's no contrast. And they got some weird sort of noise filters on things. They had a different drummer. I love the drumming on it. And I actually love the symphony aspects of this song. But yeah, same thing with World of Lines. I think this one's jumped up a little bit more. Made Out of Nothing is super, super catchy. This is one that will, it's actually from the album. This is one that I can pick up on real quick and just start humming that one. Pearl of the Stars. I remember I showed this to my wife. I'm like, isn't this awful? So what is he doing with his voice? His voice is so broken. But as far as re-listens goes, as I accepted with like Ghost and stuff, where's Ghost at? Ghost up here. I think this is probably somewhere around here. And sort of where Mother Superior is. Maybe I'll just throw it over here. Now, I guess I like Subtraction, similar, got that low vocals. Pearl of the Stars, Ghost, they all kind of fit into the same realm. And but I think it probably is the weakest of those. And I feel like it's the Mother Superior of the album, but Mother Superior, I prefer the vocals on it. Flame of Air, this one is, I really like this song. This one's got that edge that Al the Killer has and stuff, but it's again, the vocals are just all over the place. It's very progressive, but it's got that sort of Gravity's Union sort of vibe of the yells and the fluctuation in voice and stuff. But I like what's going on there. So maybe a little bit lower here. I think I might like it. See these songs? It actually is somewhere around here, perhaps. When Skeletons Live, this one goes a little higher. I think this is probably a low A. I think this might be my second favorite song on the album. when I first heard it, I'm like, there's the vocals, there it is, there it is. It's a little cheesy with lyrics, and the song doesn't really go much more instrumentally, but it's a good one. Definitely underrated in my opinion. And it's super super catchy. The Black Rainbow, I really like this one too. I think this actually is where is it? The road to no, where is it? Oh, they're on the brink. These two outro songs, I feel like these are very very close in quality, and it's just screaming end over and over again. I think this one has more going on with the music, so this might edge that out just a little bit. This one pulls back into the end, or I'm sorry, the final cut a little bit. But You're the Black Rainbow, or I'm sorry, the Black Rainbow is. I love the vocals in there. The first part has got that sort of acoustic rasp to it. Actually this intro has some interest, and actually the hollow should probably be back here. I think the hollow doesn't have much going on there. But one actually has a bit going on there. It's an interesting track, even though there's no vocals as far as instrumental. The Broken, this one definitely falls into the line of the epic intros of Atlas. I think I do think No World, man, these are pretty close. I think these are about on par with each other. Maybe No World for Tomorrow edges it out just a bit. Guns of Summer, another second track, or third, I guess. Sometimes the intro I always think of second, like after the epic one, and the rush of it. So it's got that sort of True Ugly feel, the hard sell. Was it the Hound? Yeah, I think I like this one better than the Hound. Again, it's like No World for Tomorrow and the Broken, Guns of Summer, the Hound. We got the hard sell for Dissension. These all are kind of in the same sort of realm. Here We Are, Juggernaut. It's got that sort of Toys vibe. Here to Mars, sort of the soaring vocals, catchy chorus. This one's a bit heavier. I think I probably would rate these just a little bit above these, maybe somewhere around here. It's a good one. And then yeah, Old Flames. I think it's a catchy single. Chamberlain, I actually like this one a lot. I think where's it? Flame of Air. This one's definitely similar. I think I like Chamberlain a little bit better than Flame of Air. This one's got a really cool tone to it. These are bonus tracks of You're the Black Rainbow. The Lost Shepherd, I feel like this was probably the weakest of the bonus. Somewhere around, it's better than those. Maybe there. Hush. It's a little better. It's a little catchier. I think I like it better than World of Lines. If I had to choose between those two, Dark Side of Me is yes better than Hush. But it's a catchy chorus. Deranged. This one was fun because this one came out, and this was like one of those singles. I think it came out between Year of the Black Rainbow and Afterman Ascension, and this one came out, and it was for like Arkham Asylum. I think it was part of their soundtrack or advertisement or something, and I loved it. I was like, oh, it's got, for whatever reason, I was thinking Welcome Home when I was listening to it. Now, of course, it doesn't stand up in retrospect, but and it is a little cheesy doing the Joker lines, but I think it's a very good song for a standalone. All right, and lastly, we have the latest album, In Vaxis 2. So let's see what we got here. Let's go with the opener. These are a little hard to read. I apologize. So that's, oh wait, and see this 2113? Pretend Three Evils is just to the left of that. I absolutely love Three Evils. So I apologize that one's not here, but that's where I would put it as S tier. Okay, I'm trying to see where's the first song. Embers of Fire, there it is. Sorry, it's a little hard to read that. This one I love. I think this one's about as good as the Reaping, certainly. And Predalethal, these two, maybe somewhere around here, actually. Actually, Reaping should probably be, I think I prefer Predalethal. And Embers of Fire, I think I prefer those over the Reaping, although Always and Never, Keeping the Blade. I mean, it's Keeping the Blade, man, that's such a great, fantastic intro. This might be the best intro. But there is no vocals. I love the vocals on these. Those three songs. And then we got Beautiful Losers, the most quintessential Coheed song. This guy got that, like the toys of it, the Here to Mars of it, but I love this one. Maybe keep pulling this one up. Sorry, I have to scroll a bit here. Yeah, man, this song is so catchy. Trying to think, where am I going to land? Yeah, screw it. I think this is just the top of it. I'm looking at these and I'm like, do I like it better? And it's hard for this last album, guys. This is going to be tough because you might have some criticisms for some of these that go in front of others. And I have to say, this album just came out a few months ago, so it's hard to say how long this will last. Like, we're talking songs that have lived up to the test of time here, and they're still in the top tier. So this one, it's hard to say. I might look back at this and think it's absurd. Like, for instance, Colors, if you guys start squinting your eyes, you see the number 4 there is in the top tier. Year of the Black Rainbow is like middle, lower. And then Color Before the Sun, it's kind of staggered here. But these would have been much higher when I first heard the album. Sometimes when an album comes out, you're so excited to get some new Coheed that you don't really think about it in a lasting way. But I absolutely love that song so far. So I'm going to have to just go with my instinct on this. And then the next song after that is, did I say Comatose? Yeah, so Comatose is like the cuts in the March of Men song for this. It's just like a roller coaster. I love it. It's fast. It's dynamic. It totally is Coheed and Cambria. It's got a little bit, maybe too much punk in it for me. But yeah, comparing it to things like Devil in Jersey City and 33, it definitely gives like the Comatose feel with those songs. But the drums stand out so much in this, and the mix is so good. The production value is so high. I absolutely love it, and it even has that sort of edgy, like shouting vocals that pop in. Um, that's just really really impressive. Let's see. Oh, then after that is, I think it's Shoulders. There we go. Shoulders. And I absolutely love Shoulders. As of now, I think I'll probably. Do I like? Yeah, I think I like it just edging out the gutter. For now, these two songs, they kind of were this one. There was a singles. I think Shoulders. I think it's almost a perfect song as far as just a straight up song to listen to. The only reason it wouldn't, it's subjective. It drops down this low, but I think it just doesn't have enough variety in it. And so it almost, I feel like this one's up here now, but will probably sort of trickle down to somewhere around the Running Free and the Dark Cell, the Hard Cell, sorry. The Hard Cell, it definitely has, like, if you're like, oh, you like the Shoulders, listen to the Hard Cell or the Running Free. It's got that sort of, the solo that comes in, it's got sort of the same sort of pace to it. But something about the soaring vocals here, I just absolutely love the chorus of this. And then we got, then it's The Disappearing Act. This one is probably one of the more controversial songs. Them trying something completely different. I'm not a fan of this type of music. I used to be more into techno, but I love that they try to do variety. And the main thing I'm looking at is that sort of, he's getting it's very rare to hear his Michael Jackson voice. I think that's what was missing on Year of the Black Rainbow. The sort of softer, faster, higher pitched vocals. I wish the song was a lot edgier or went a few more places and had a little bit more variety, a little forward guitar. But that's just my bias here. As far as the tracks on this album, I just think, yeah, it's an A. It's really very good. And yeah, it actually probably needs to be pumped up here a bit. Somewhere around there. And then Love Murder 1. It's hard. I like listen to these songs back to back, and I can't quite distinguish between them. I mean, I can, but as far as like my favorite, like which one do I care for more? I think Love Murder 1 has an edge to it just because it's got, I think, a catchier and more singable like chorus. And I love I think it's the bass. It's just a loud thumping and intensity of Love Murder 1, whereas the Disappearing Act does have that sort of modern day. People are saying, what's it? Oh shoot, I forget what it is, but I mean, some have said Lady Gaga kind of feel, and it's like, hey, if Claudio sings a Lady Gaga song, fantastic. If he sings a Justin Bieber song, awesome. It's his vocals can go anywhere, is my point, and still sound amazing. And then actually, I mixed up the order a bit here. I actually removed Badman, and this was one I want to make note of. This album, I remade some of the songs. I called them director's cut just for the fun of it, and I took out the auto tune. And this one is, where am I putting it? This one's got to be pretty low here. Yeah, it's hard to say where to put it, but as a standalone, I would say this is probably like a D. But when I removed the auto tune from a few of these songs, even Love Murder 1, I just tossed out the auto tune. I didn't really miss it, and I prefer the songs without it. And then now then, when it's a Disappearing Act, Love Murder 1, and Badman back to back to back, I brought them back in. I just think it's almost like a long progressive song of a variety of like 80s pop, like modern pop and dance, a little bit of techno in there, and all these songs have sort of a nostalgia to them as prior sort of music that I liked in the past. Okay, Liars Club. Is that? I think, yeah, this one. Well, Blood pops up before, so I love Blood. This one is somewhere around Far. I can't determine now which one will have lasting power, but this definitely has the Far feel, but his vocals are better in Blood. But I do like the raspiness of Far, and it kind of Far seems a little bit more dark. This one seems a little fluffy, so maybe this one can go back one. But I really love that song. And then Liars Club. It's funny, when I first heard this, I was like, whoa, this is so amazing, but it's got that candy of the chorus, verse, or verse, chorus, bridge, chorus done. And the bridge is, and in too many songs, the bridge is just him re-singing the chorus. Even with Shoulders, it's just him singing the chorus again. And I don't know why he did that, why he didn't actually do like unique bridges with a little bit more instrumental play. But it definitely falls into the category of a Faber House Atlantic sort of. I think Faber House is a little bit better because it's got more variety going on. But I love the punchiness of this one. And then when I look at like, oh, these others that obviously are better, it's hard to like, okay, maybe this needs to drop down even more, maybe mid B in the end. All right. and again, some of these, you know, I have to rethink some of them. Like, it's so hard. I mean, you can't really compare Liars Club to, you know, Gravity's Union. Like, they're not even in the same realm. So I feel like we need to have a tier list for the different types of songs almost. Window of the Wake. Oh no, hold on. What's next? I think it's. Oh, I know what it is. There's this. What the hell is that? Oh, Our Love. Apologize for that delay there. Our Love. This is definitely the wake up of it, but it's super catchy. I think it's better than Colors. It's one of these sort of one-offs. It almost doesn't necessarily belong in here because, as I said, you can't really compare this. You can't compare Colors to some of these other songs that may be lower on the list. This is definitely a personal preference, but Our Love is super catchy. It's a good little lull, and I listen to it a little bit out of order. I like it as like a period to the last song. I'll sometimes listen to it like that. Ladders of Supremacy. Bring this guy up. This one is fantastic. It's definitely, I think it's got a little bit of an edge here. I absolutely love this song. It's totally S tier. It's amazing. You know what? As I'm looking at this, I think the island needs to drop a bit more, and then the end complete should go up a bit. Beautiful Losers and Island. That's interesting. Yeah, these two kind of fill the same role. And yet the island, though, it gives you a whole vibe of the album, though. So I think it is the S of like one of the S tiers of that album. So maybe I'll keep it as is. And then Rise, it just pumps right into Rise from the Ladders of Supremacy. Such an awesome one, and this one will go up. I don't know if I like it more than Time Consumer as of this point. It gives me that vibe. Three Evils, I said, was around here, so maybe I'll drop it down around here to pretend that this is Three Evils. I feel like the song is just, they punch right into it, get started. He's got that Michael Jackson sort of voice going on. And also, yeah, I meant to mention with the Liars Club, the Annie, Are You Okay? Sort of vocals going on there, but Rise, that's awesome. And then we have, last but not least, the window of, actually it might be least. Let's see. I think it's, so this one's interesting because I did an adjustment to this song as well and posted it. And what I did was I added the Al Killer sort of low pitch vocals underneath his screams about the doctors, and sort of I guess it's sort of one of the bridges. Like the whole song is just a series of bridges that are very, very cool. And then I made a couple adjustments where I took out like him like just saying Vaxis, 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 and then I added a pterodactyl scream in the mix. And I actually took out the outro. I think that was a little bit too long, a little bit too Disney. And I like the outro going right into Our Love, as opposed to going back to Old Flames. But maybe that's because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of Old Flames. I didn't really need to go back there. And I thought it started out great. Like it's like Old Flames like goes into Embers of Fire, and I feel like it should go out like into the next album, like into something else for Vaxis 3. So I'm not sure what they're going to do for that in Vaxis 3. Like, where are they going to start? Are they still going to have that theme? I imagine they will. I'm hoping the next album is going to be a bit edgier than this one. I think as a whole, even though these are great songs, super catchy, I think as a whole they aren't as edgy as I would have liked. So I'm really hoping that they keep some of the variety that's in this album, but they add a little bit more edge to it that you see in like Ladders of Supremacy. Of course, again, that's my bias coming out. I think sometimes they go too far with it with Year of the Black Rainbow, but then sometimes they go too far the other direction with Color Before the Sun, and to have a little bit more here would be great. So I think well, it can't really be there, right? It's better than Nighttime Walkers. Others of Man, maybe it's somewhere around here. All right. So I think that's probably where I'm going to stop. I think I've went well into an hour. So if you stuck around, I really appreciate it. And hopefully I didn't want to just throw the songs on. I guess I could make a video where I just toss them on super fast. Maybe I could create this video without my voice and just go and just put it up. But I think in summary, if I'm squinting my eyes, I'm going to maybe do one more quick video of tossing in the album ranks, but I think I'm pretty close. I think I said Good Apollo 4 is first, and if I squint my eyes, I see a lot of 4. I see a lot of Second Stage up there. Actually, that's a little surprising. I rated that one kind of low, but I see a lot of blue. I see the embers floating around the A, S tiers. So I could see maybe in total that could come in second. Whereas something like I think maybe overall like just Vaxis 2 just had so many consistently amazing songs and fun and interesting and unique songs and variety that they all kind of stack up to come in second as my second favorite Coheed and Cambria album. Whereas others like are just way all over the map. Like with a Second Stage, I love some songs, and the others are just way down here at the bottom. Actually, I shouldn't count the oh yeah, the D's and C's. Some of them fall down there. If you look at Unheavenly Creatures, they're scattered throughout. Like there's not just highs and lows; it's just all across the map. And I think that's a good description of that song, that album. What else? Afterman. Those are scattered everywhere. Similarly, I always thought Unheavenly Creatures was similar to Afterman, the double album, in the sense of they got a lot of variety and it just kind of mediocre songs, but they're good, but like mediocre in the discography total. And then we got Colors. Colors got some pops here at the top, and then some big drop offs at the bottom. So I think that puts that down into the lower tier. Then of course Black Rainbow, it's only gotten one or two that are even in the top, and then Black Rainbow is just filling up the lower tiers. So that kind of makes sense for Year of the Black Rainbow to be so low. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I'm sure you could drop a song. I know there's a lot of people that might be upset about 10 speed being lower than When Skeletons Live. Does that really make sense? Yeah, I mean, even just glancing at it, it's like, okay, you can test it to see, do I like All on Fire better than True Ugly? Yes, I do. Do I like Mother Superior better than Subtraction? Yes. Do I like Number City better than Delirium Trigger? Yes, and they're right next to each other. Do I like The Writing Rider better than 10 Speed? Yes. So we can do tests on this. Lucky Stars. Do you like Lucky Stars better than Here We Are Juggernaut? Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Here We Are Juggernaut. I mean, maybe that is a little bit on the low side. It is a good song. So there might be a few here that might need to be moved around. But I think if you look at a collection like Squinting Your Eyes, whether it's this song or that song, I think collectively they all should kind of flood around this area. Anyway, again, I appreciate you sticking around for this entire review, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.